Well, good morning, everybody. Welcome back to Transwest Truck Trailer RV. My name's Mark Love, and today I've got a 2024 Renegade Classic for you. Great looking coach. There's some things they do kind of special on this one that I'll point out as I go along. Let's go ahead and get started. One thing I like to point out about the Renegades is they have the Vega Touch system. And earlier I was running my awning out and must have got a little windy or something, it closed up. But let's take a look at our Girard roof mount awning while we're right here. I'm going to continue running it out from my phone. One of the nice things I like about this app, if you're by yourself and you've got a tree out here, or maybe that back slide, there's a rock next to it, and you want to watch it as it goes out, you can, let me just show you the app here. You can get in here and adjust your awnings. You can do your climate, your lights, you can do everything from this app. So it's really convenient, and once you get a unit, you'll want to get signed up for that right away. Okay, let's start out with the chassis. This is a P4 Cascadia chassis, and it's the 116 with a 525 horse. It's a DD13, a Detroit diesel. That develops about 1,900 foot-pounds of torque. One thing about this Cascadia chassis, a lot of the Super Cs that we deal with, your Superstars and the Veronas, Verona LEs, and many other ones, they're on the M2 chassis, and you're going to have a smaller engine with that. When you get up to the P4, you can tell this is a taller chassis, it's longer, it'll accommodate a bigger engine. So if you want something with the 1,900, 2,000 pounds of torque, anywhere from a 500 to a 605 Cummins, this is probably the most popular chassis. We'll take a look at the engine real quick here. One thing about the Super Cs, anyone who does their own work realizes how easy it is to access everything. Your fuel filters, water separators, transmission fill, you've got your air cleaner up there. You can see the gauge to tell you how plugged it's getting. Over on the other side, as we walk around, in here we've got our oil dipstick, oil fill, coolant, power steering fluid. If I had this wheel turned a little farther, I could squeeze inside here to work on it. I'm going to do it right now because I tend to get dirty when I do it. But this is the DD13 525 horse Detroit diesel, great power plant. And again, this is the Cascadia 38-foot chassis. One thing about Freightliner and this chassis, they make the wheelbase match the unit. They don't just have standard sizes. So they will either stretch or shrink the chassis to accommodate this 38-footer. And the nice thing about that, when we get in the back, I'll point it out a little bit more, but it really works well when you're turning corners. For a 38-footer, you don't have too much overhang in the back where you're gonna hit things with your swing out, and just a real smooth riding unit. And I love the way these come down. They're not gonna blow over and knock you out if you happen to be working on them. Okay, as we walk around, you can see we've got cameras, surround sound cameras. We've got a couple in the back, and this also has the extra lighting package. So as I go around, I'll try to point them out, but there's 6 marker lights, and you've got the, I think the Cyclops type middle back light for your brake. Another thing about the Cascadias, if you notice, you've got your mirrors here, but you also have a mirror right here. And that is for, a lot of the truck drivers are hauling big rigs, they have wide loads, and if a motorcycle or a little sports car pulls up right here, you might have a hard time seeing them in this mirror. So you have a mirror here that looks straight down, but more importantly, you also have a lane assist and blind spot monitoring, and that's what this package is right here. So if somebody pulls up and you are going to turn right, you put your blinker on, it's going to give you a warning. And then, you may forget to look into this mirror most of the time, but if you check it, you're looking at this area right down here in front of you. So that's a great safety feature that they have with it. Another thing about the Classics, kind of a unique product for Renegade. This is made with what's called FRP sidewalls. It's fiberglass reinforced plywood. You can kind of see the wavy corrugated texture almost inside, and it is indestructible. I have had the rep sit here and tell me he can beat on this with the ball bat and really not scratch it. Although I haven't seen that performed live. One of these days I'll give it a try for you. But FRP 2-inch sidewalls, very well insulated, very rigid. As we walk down our storage compartments, this first one has our chassis batteries. Those are our starting batteries right there. And then we also have a place to tie into our air compressor. And there is an air line back here in one of the other compartments. The nice thing about this is maybe you need to fill up your tires if one is low. Maybe you're towing a Jeep and you let all the air outs to go do some gnarly trail, and then you come back, you're going to drive it on the road, you want to put some air in it. You've got an air compressor on board, you might as well be able to use it. Back in this compartment, this is our AquaHot, and this is one of the special unique features of this unit. Standard is a 450 AquaHot. This is the 600. It's a bigger unit. Now this has an electric and a diesel element in there, and the 600s are normally what you're going to find on the Icons or the 45 footers. But with a Classic, you can special build them. Another thing they did on this Classic, on a 38 footer, you normally get 2 air conditioners. This one has 3. So extra air conditioner, an extra large AquaHot there, great for all conditions. We do have our 43-inch Samsung TV with a sound bar out here, and that will pull out and tilt for you. Back in this compartment, you can see it's just kind of an open storage compartment, and I like the way they line these. They use a bed liner, almost like a gray rhino liner in here. So if you want to hose them out, you can actually clean them out that way. And by the way, this right here is a cover for your step when you go inside here. I know the Newmars have an electric one you can push. Renegade gives you a manual one, but I do like that they add that feature, because if you've got a dog or somebody walking around while you're driving, you don't want them to fall down in that compartment. Okay, as we move back, another storage compartment. That's our air hose you see right there. And again, notice how they're all lined with that gray spray bed liner. And another thing I'll point out, I've always liked Newmar's doors. They're a heavy-duty compartment door with dual latches, and these are one of the smoothest closing doors in the business. Okay, again, we've got some docking lights, this is an extra blinker. So you have a side blinker. That's part of the extra lighting package that comes with it. Back here, little confusing, we have an extra Gen Y hitch, and this ball is rated at 32,000 pounds. Now, when we get in the back, I'll explain the difference and what that means, but we also have another insert here, and these inserts have both the 2-inch and the 2 5/16 ball. And then back here, we've got some extra tiles, and these they're called slide room lockouts. This is how they come to us from Renegade, so they're not using them obviously, but when this slide is in, you can wedge this between the fascia and the sidewall so it won't leak out as you go down the road. That's really not an issue, but they do provide those just in case you would need to use them. And then one final compartment here, and this is just storage. And you do have access here. You could run a power cord into that 110 plug up through the bottom there. Okay, let's move around back. Now, I was just talking a little bit about the hitch, and this is your Gen Y hitch. Now, typically, something with a 525 Detroit diesel is going to be on a 40 to 45 foot unit with dual axles in the back, and it would be rated at 30,000 pounds. Because this one only has a single axle, The rating with this hitch is 20,000 pounds. Now, you notice we have a 2-inch receiver here. This is a 3-inch receiver, step down to a 2, and that would be for like your Blue Ox, or if you're towing something, you want to use a standard 2-inch receiver. That other Gen Y is a 32,000 hitch, so the hitch is rated for that weight, and I hate to say this, but I have to do some research. Generally, it takes a double axle to get 30,000 pounds, but with this setup and the way they have sort of customized the wheelbase, I believe you can tow 30,000 pounds on this one with that other hitch. You also have some glad hands here. You know, you might be pulling with an air brake, you might have a stacker trailer, you want to hook up a camera, well, that's your 7-way plug. Here's your plug-in for a Voyager for a second camera. Also notice a backup camera right here. The nice thing about this, when you're hooking up a trailer, you can look right down on this hitch and line yourself up exact. You also have another camera up on the top there. And I guess these are the extra lights, the midship brake lights that you get with your lighting package. And again, you can see the frameless insulated. They're the dual pane frameless windows there. Just a great look to them. So we come around here over on the driver's side. Our first compartment right there has our transfer switch, our crossover, plus our 50 amp power cord. This is about a 35 or 36 footer, and it is manual out, and then you have a power rewind. That's a nice feature in the winter because those can be really tough to wrestle. Over here, we've got our 12.5 generator. Now again, standard's going to be an 8,000 watt generator on a 38 footer with 2 air conditioners. This has 3 ACs, and it's jumped up to the 12,500 watt generator. So you've got plenty of power if you're out boondocking. Again, our outside docking lights, our side blinkers. We do have some security lights up there. Right here is our water closet. I'll stand back a little bit because we tend to sometimes lose the audio in this part of the coach. But as you can see, there is a whole house filter. Down there on the lower right is your water hose. That is also on a power rewind. You have your dump valves right here and your fill, whether you're using city water or going to fill your tank and run off your tank. You do have 150 gallons of fresh water on this, so you can stay out a long time. And then also, you've got your flow jet there, and you can see your hose reel button. What that is, this has a macerator. Now, first of all, this Classic has a macerator toilet, but it also has the flow jet macerator here for your dump. Nice thing about that is it really does a good job of chewing up that solid waste and completely draining it with a pump. You can even pump it uphill if you need to. And of course, you could always unhook that and drain it the old-fashioned way with a hose. Okay, this next compartment back, you can see we've got our macerator hose, our dump. You can see the dump valve. Really not much room for storage. I suppose you could get a few flat items in there. And then here we go. These are our lithium-ion batteries. Now, a standard lithium-ion package has 2 270 amp-hour batteries. There is an option to get a third one. So we have a total of 810 amp hours. Also, you can see there's 2 3,000 watt inverters in there on the left. And this also has 3 200 watt solar panels on the roof. So, you know, a lot of these Super Cs are used for people that aren't camping at the campgrounds. They're off the grid, snowmobiling, hunting, whatever the case may be. It's nice to be able to have the ability to stay out there for longer periods of time with 150 gallons of fresh water, 75-gallon black and gray tanks. You really don't run out of fresh water or fill up those tanks too fast. And then that's not a compartment that opens there, but one other thing I'll show you right here. We have actually our fuel fill and our DEF fill. So there is, what is that? There's 13 gallons worth of DEF, and it's either 120 or 130, I believe, gallons of fuel on this. 120. I'm being told by another expert. So, and another thing, you can see, if you go back and look at any of the previous videos that were on an M2, the difference on this chassis, where it hits me, how high I have to step up. But it is so easy to get in. The fact that this steel grid here really helps in the winter. It'll kind of get the snow off the bottom of your boots, give you a little bit of traction. It's easy to pull yourself up in here with the handles that they've got. And the other thing I like to point out from right here is your seat. So you do have an air ride seat. You can dump it out. When I'm in there, it would sit all the way down, but that'll air it up for you. You've got some really good lumbar supports in these Renegade seats, and it's extremely comfortable to drive these. And then you have your chucker, and you can move your seat forward and back right here. Also, for those of you that aren't familiar with them, right here is your chassis battery disconnects. So when you get in or when you get out, you just turn them off right here when you're done with it. Okay, let's go around inside and take a look at the floor plan. So this is the 38 CSB floor plan. A couple more unique little tidbits about the Classic. This is the tallest coach they make. So inside, I have 90-inch ceilings. So even people that generally have trouble having to duck their head for air conditioners and doorways and things like that have plenty of room here. Why don't you go ahead and I'll close the door behind us. Okay, and here we are. Again, this is the 38 CSB Renegade Classic, and I was looking for the color of its Rockport. This is maple cabinetry, and it's a Rockport, and I really like this color. I like what they've done with the backsplashes on the tile. There's some wainscotings in the bedroom. It's just a really classy, great-looking coach with all those extra features. Let's go up front, and let me point out a couple of things here first. Like I say, these are air seats. That's a little too much, so I'll just bring myself down. Get some dash lights on here. So one thing about the Cascadia, compared to the M2, this is a much more comfortable chassis in my mind. Even a little old school here with your CV player. You notice right here on your backup monitor, we've got our different views. Now this one I like because it's kind of a wide angle, but you can still see your hitch. I can scroll through these. There's our side views. There is the widescreen view. There we are. If you're going to hook up to a trailer, you can back right up to it. So great looking camera, and there's a spider right there on the outside. I hope that shows through. On the dash, very simple controls, but a couple of things that I'll point out. This has an integrated brake controller on it. So if you're pulling a stacker trailer or something, a little bit heavier, you've got your brake controller. You actually have a handbrake here for your trailer. Sometimes you want to engage that first to slow you down. We also have a differential lock right here. What this will do is, if you're in snow or maybe in sand and you need traction to both wheels, you can lock them together. And then this also is, we can lower our suspension, and we're dropping the rear right now. The reason you want to do that is when you're hooking up to a trailer. Now I can back up under the tongue. Once I'm where I need to be, turn it back on, it'll lift up the trailer. It just makes it a lot easier to hook up. You're not cranking that trailer up and down to meet the height of the hitch pin. Okay, over here, we've got our footwell lights, our dome lights, our regen. This is a button you'll probably never use. That's more in the commercial trucking business. From up here on the dash, I can scroll through, for instance, my gauges right there on my monitor. And let's see. Well, let's get back in here. There we go. The chassis one's the one I was looking for. When I go to that, there, you can see my TPMS right now. Looks like this left front's 122. That might be a little bit low, but it'll give me a warning if it gets outside the parameters that they recommend. So very easy to scroll through this. There we go. If you're going to lock, oh, that's your, same that you're reading here. There you can Bluetooth in your phone. There's your radio control right there. All easy access at your fingertips. Over on this side of the dash, this kind of controls this part, your monitors. Let me see, there's one of the windows I wanted to show. That is the distance for our active cruise control, how far out. It'll give you a warning. Here's one that the overspeed indicator, and if you really don't like to hear that alarm, you can shut it off, but you can also turn it up right here to 9 or shut it down to 0, and as soon as you go over the speed limit, it'll let you know. But it's always a good idea to scroll through these, get to know the feel of them. But basically, it keeps your hands on the wheel, your eyes forward, everything right here in front of you. With these air ride seats, the lumbar support, like I say, just a beautiful looking cab and one of the most comfortable of all the Super Cs that we deal with. Okay, let's take a look at some of the storage here. So we got a main overhead compartment. There's a switch for our cab ceiling lights. Also, I didn't point this out, but we've got a couple glove box type compartments, one on each side for the driver and the passenger, and then also right here above your CB radio, you've got a little bit of storage. You have compartments on both sides. Now, those boxes you see in there are your awning controls. And there's a 110 outlet in that one. And then we also have our curtain here that pulls around as a privacy curtain at night. Our auto levelers are right here, easy to access. As we move back into the living area, this first compartment here, it's got some nice pull-out drawers. Bottom two are pretty deep, and everything is a soft close drawer here. Notice the dovetails and the thickness of this maple. These are really sturdy, robust cabinets. I had a couple in here over the weekend that looking at some Super Cs, and they had a model in mind. I'm not going to talk about any other manufacturer, but they had rented one and they were saying that this thing only had 30,000 miles, and the screws that were falling out, the cabinets that weren't lining up, and the drawers. There is a real difference in the quality of the build, and so many times weight is a factor or a function of the quality. Now, we've got a 41,000 pound GVWR, and I think we're about 32 or 33,000 pounds empty. But some of the things that make some coaches heavier than others, for instance, this has tile flooring here. The cabinetries, all solid wood maple, and there is no wrapped stiles. When you look in these compartments, this would be for your video components, but the back of this, you don't feel veneer. It's not a wrap style. That's all solid hardwood. That adds a little bit more weight, but in 5 years, as you're going down the road, these are still going to open like this. Your corners are still going to be solid. Your cabinet doors aren't going to be hanging. And there is a difference in the weight and the quality of the unit. And I tell you, these Classics by Renegade are one of the most solid built coaches I've ever seen. We have a few monitors up here if you want to, you know, figure out what your inverter's doing and so forth. We have our main monitor panel in the back. And then down here, we have our fuses and breakers. So, okay, and what is that?
Danny wants to know what's the wheelbase on this unit.
Well, I should know it. At 38 feet, I believe this is a 220. But Danny, I'll have to get back on you and double check that. Okay, here's our 18 cubic foot residential refrigerator. Oops, there we go. You can see you've got plenty of storage. The blue in there is our antifreeze. We are winterizing things now as they come in. One of the things about having those lithium-ion batteries, residential refrigerator, we've got a induction cook surface here. This coach has no propane. You use your diesel from your fuel tank on the AquaHot for your heat, for your hot water, engine preheat, and so forth. And then for cooking, you have an induction cook surface. Anything that a magnet will stick to will work. And they actually give you a little magnet here to put on the bottom of your pan. If it sticks to it, that pan will work on this true induction. While I've got this open, look at the silverware drawer. It's actually got 2 levels. Really nicely made. And then again, we've got a couple other full pull-outs with soft close, water filter there. One more. We have storage under your stove. And again, these are all soft close. They all have the dovetail joints in them. Okay, across from your kitchen area, we do have our dinette table. By the way, these carpets are for the cab area up front. This coach actually has a convertible dinette that will drop down into a sleeper. You drop that down there under each drawer. Let's see, we've got some storage, and these are the cushions that fill in there in the middle. You got one on each side. Couple of seat belts here on the forward-facing part of the dinette. Beside the dinette, we have our theater seating, and one thing about these Renegades, the inverter is always on, so you always have the power, the 110 power you need. And again, this will go all the way back, very comfortable. Generally, if you would have a couch here, it would have a pull-out bed. Since we have the theater seating here, at least you have the dinette table that converts to an extra sleeper. Oh, and by the way, that cab up there, it's called the Aero Cab. Generally, a Classic is going to come with a bunk in this area, so it would have a queen bed, so you can order it with an extra sleeper. But when you go with the Aero Cab, it's a little more aerodynamic, much easier to get in and out of, and you get that extra storage up front. Okay, let's keep going back here, show you the sink. This is a large stainless steel undermount sink. Nice thing about this is it's really easy to brush things in here and clean off your countertops. You do get a residential type sprayer here. And a kitchen window right there. Now, one thing about these windows, our day shades are manual, but we do have a remote for our night shades. So at night, I'm just going to put them all down at once. we go. Under the sink, we've got a little bit more storage. You can see your subwoofer in there and plenty of room for a trash can. Little cubby there for your scrubbies or dish soap or whatnot. And then over here, the TV does pull out and articulate, so when you're getting ready to settle in for the night, make yourself comfortable in the theater seating. You have a 43-inch TV here. Get that back in. And then this is the area where I was telling you you've got that cover out in your storage bin. So when I'm traveling, I'd probably bring it in and put it there just so any animal walking around isn't going to fall down in the area. Some nice coat hooks when you come in the door, right where you want them. This is one of our monitor panels. And again, you can see the Vega Touch I talked about earlier. When you go to settings, hit the mobile app. This tells me which unit I'm in. Of course, when I go to pair it with my phone, it's searching about 20 different units that use this Vega Touch, so you have to figure out which one you're on, put the code in, and then you can do most of the things, excuse me, on your phone that you can do here. Your lights, for example. You can turn your generator on and off. We can get in here and do our auto gen start. Now, this is a nice feature for those that aren't familiar with it. You can set your generator to turn on a few different ways. One, you can monitor your batteries. As they get low, they can fire it up, both house or chassis battery. You can also do it with temperature. So if it reaches 75 degrees in here, maybe you've left a pet inside, you can have that generator kick on. Your ACs will come on and cool the coach down. All of that is automatic. Here's where we set our temperature. By the way, main climate, we do have, floor or out in our compartments. There's our aqua hot burners. We have electric and diesel. And this unit also has floor heat in it. And it must be on another panel. These have the soft coat walls, the padded walls with the wainscot trim here. Really nice. It adds a layer of insulation. It helps deaden the sound. And I talked about having these tall, I think it's a 90-inch ceiling right here. Not only the ceiling, but look at the height of your doorways. So people that are over 6 foot, 6'3", 6'4", they're not having to duck every time they go through a door. Once again, this is the tallest coach that Renegade makes. One thing about having this headroom is you can get the ceiling fan. And we actually have two of them, one here and one in the bedroom. And you can see it's not likely you're going to hit that when it's spinning. And then also right back here, if you just look up a little more, you see one of the decorative colors for the 15,000 BTU air conditioner. And there is 1, 2, and a third one in the bedroom. Typically, this would only have 2 ACs. So if you're in an extremely hot climate, you're going to appreciate that. Let's move back into the bedroom-bathroom area. As you come in, I'll show you we do have the Splendid stackable washer and dryer. One of the things I really like about this floor plan, at 38 feet, some coaches are bath and a half, but you give up a lot of room when you put that half bathroom in. So I don't mind having the walk-through bathroom, toilet and shower on one side, sink on the other. Let me go ahead and, well, you may want to walk through here first, and then I'll get into the toilet and shower side here. You can see there's plenty of room. Nice big storage area up here. This has got kind of the new coach smell to it. I'm going to turn on my fantastic fan right here, get a little air circulating. I have 3 of those throughout the coach. And then you can see with the shower right here, even though it is a step up, you've got nearly 7 feet to the ceiling here. So even the tallest of people, for the most part, don't have a problem taking a shower. Okay, and then across from the shower is our sink area. Nice solid surface countertops, and check out the dark tile wainscot. I forgot to point it out in here too. They used a floor tile for the wainscot in the bathroom. I mean, it's just, this is a classy looking coach. I like the gray, I like the colors, I like the way they trimmed it. The sink here, plenty of room. You've got a nice sized medicine cabinet, plus more storage over here. Storage underneath. And then 3 full pull-out drawers. And again, you notice the dovetails in all of these. Everything they make, heavy duty, good quality. It's not going to fall apart on you going down the road. You have to keep in mind that anytime you're in an RV driving, it's like you're under a mild earthquake condition all the time. Things will loosen up in time if they're not built solid. Okay, we're going to step back into the bedroom now. Show you a couple of shirt closets. And I love the cedar line closet. They always smell so nice. We have a 32-inch TV here, and again, that'll pull out and tilt for you. Once again, our day shades are manual, but the night shades are electric. And in the bedroom, they have individual switches for each of the night shades. Underneath here, we've got a big cabinet area, and you can see there on the right, you've got room for video components. This is pre-wired for a satellite, but so many people are using streaming services now rather than the satellites that they're not always putting them in like they used to. Over here, we have 3 more deep dresser drawers. Okay, over here on each side of the bed, you're going to see you've got a 110 outlet. You do have USB ports down there. Overhead here, we've got a very large open storage area. And notice the nice hardware, the hidden hinges, just a great look. And then while you're in bed here, you can actually, let's see, we've got a couple of reading lights. I can turn them on individually or both together. And then right here, my controls for my night shades. And I've even got a master light on off button. If I forgot to turn out the lights up front, can start my generator from right here and even start my fan, my ceiling fan. And again, you notice there's another ceiling fan there. This window is an option to have this rear window in. And again, they kind of hide that button from anybody that's shorter up here on top of the valance. Okay. Now let me show you what we've got under the bed. This is one of the unique things about the Renegades in general. They put their water tanks right here. So we've got 150 gallons of fresh water. Your pump is right here. Your winterization bypass kit is right here. Very easy to access. If you're the type of person that winterizes it yourself, it's quite easy. You've actually got a bar here that if I wanted to pull it down and wedge it in, I wouldn't have to hold it up. You've got a couple of vents or heating vents on each side, but the nice thing about this is it's all internal. It's not going to freeze up. If you're a snowmobiler and you're getting out in extremely cold temperatures, you want to be relatively sure that you get up in the morning and you're not going to have a mess from broken pipes. So they run everything inside, 150 gallons of water, probably larger than just about any other Super C out there with only a few exceptions. I think that's about it today. Once again, this is a 2024 Renegade Classic. It's the 38 CSB. My name's Mark Love. I think they're showing my information on the bottom. Please call me at 970-631-0083. If you want to set up a time to come and look at this, or you have questions on another unit, just let us know if there's anything we can do to help. Once again, thanks for tuning in, folks. Happy trails. Drive safe out there, and we'll see you next week.